Welcome to the Pro Formula Podcast, you all. I'm your host, Tarek Shabazz, and can you believe it that we're in season 2, y'all? We got through season 1. We learned so much through that season 1, and now we're kicking off our season 2. I'm super excited to have an opportunity to be back in the Mile High City and introduce you all to my boy, Marcus Richardson. My man, Marcus Richardson. What's up with you, baby? How you been?
I'm great, man. You?
I'm doing good. Dude, it's back in the city. It's cold, man. I'm like, golly, Colorado. It seems like every time I come out here, it freezes on me. I need to stay out of here and come back when it's warm.
Yeah, you got to stop coming in winter.
Yeah, I know, that's right. But I miss y'all, man. I got to come back in this kicking off season 2, man. I'm excited about it. I'm super excited to having a chance to sit down with you. I'm so proud of you. And let's get rocking and rolling, man. What you think?
I'm ready to rock and roll. It's always good to have you back, though. So I know you in the sunshine state of Florida.
Yeah.
When it's days like this and like we had last week, I'd be like, dang, I should just do the move. I should just go
Come on, Marcus.
Send me messages like, it's still cold out here. And I'm like, I'm looking at -8, and then you like, it's cold at 63 and rain. And I'm like, bro, I'd take 63 and rain all day long.
I will too, because as soon as I got off the airplane last night, I was freezing. I was like, this is not for me, but it's good to be back, man. Today I want to talk a little bit about an industry in multi-level marketing, which is network marketing, multi-level marketing. Are those primarily the names?
Multi-level network marketing.
Yeah, multi-level marketing, network marketing, where somebody recruits you into a business, and essentially you have to recruit other people into the organization in order for you to like build a team. And you can sell things. It's usually tied to a product. And anybody that's really over the age of 20, you've likely been recruited into a network marketing. Is that fair?
18 or older. 18 or older, you're a prime candidate if you're 18 or older. That's fair.
If you're 18 or older, you likely have gotten recruited. And the thing about multi-level marketing, Marcus, that I think is so extraordinary is that people have really made wealth.
Yes.
But then there's this idea of like, it's a scheme, somebody's trying to take advantage of me, or I ain't making no money.
Right.
Have you heard that?
100%. And it's normally the ones that's not making money are the ones that don't put in the work.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people see multi-level marketing as a get-rich-quick scheme.
Okay.
And it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich scheme.
Oh.
You follow me?
He said it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich scheme. You guys, you got to listen to him, because this dude was going to start dropping some bombs on us throughout. He just started. We're 2 minutes in. He's already got it going.
And so what you find a lot of times is people say, well, I see that opportunity, or I see the results that this person has.
Yeah.
And I want the results. I want the $10,000 a week. I want the, 100 downline. And, I want the organization traveling the world, which is cool, but you don't know what it took for him to get that $10,000 a week.
Yeah.
You don't know what it took for her to be able to have that downline for 100 different people, how many calls she had to make, how many no's she had to go through.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people see it and they're like, oh, I want those results, but they don't really realize the struggle and the effort that goes in from the results, because they look at it and say, oh, this is something I don't have to do for my 8 to 5, but I'm going to be able to go in and put in less effort. That's a lie. You got to put in effort.
I agree with that. I don't want to disagree and just start the show off with disagreeing with you, workers, but I truly believe that some of this has something to do with like the people that bring you into the business. Yeah. They sell this idea of, man, you ain't really got to do nothing, man. You just got to get people, bring them to the meeting, and once they come to the meeting, man, you're going to start making money. So I think I do understand that people are looking at the results and they're more focused on what they see. Yeah. But I also think that there's got to be a responsibility on that upline or that person, that manager who's bringing you into the business to say, yo, this ain't easy work. The process may be simple in terms of whatever your business is, but the work is going to be hard. And I think people are not necessarily saying that. What do you say to that?
100%. And, I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And so what really I've noticed, though, is if you don't set the right expectation. Okay. Like, life is about expectations, because you get what you expect. And so if a person comes in and hey, I expect to be making, 5,000, 10,000, but the person that brought you in does not show you the work level that it takes to bring in 5 or 10,000 a week, or 5 or 10,000 a month for that matter, right? A lot of times you think, because we're an instant society, oh, I can get it in 90 days, or I can get it in a month. And if I'm not getting those results in the first month, I go off somewhere else and try to do something different. But the expectation needs to be communicated with the leader or the mentor or the person that brings you in, because if they don't set the proper expectations, a lot of times I'll talk to people in our organization. I say, look, you have this expectation of what you want to accomplish, but what's the work look like that it takes to accomplish that? And then sometimes when I start laying out the work, they're like, well, I don't really want to do all that. I say, it's not a problem. You just need to lower your expectations.
Okay.
So if I show you a blueprint to do the 5,000 a week, right? And it's going to take this many presentations, this many opportunity sit downs, or whatever the case is for that business model. And then I say, okay, you're going to have to do 50 of those a week. Somebody might be like, I don't know if I really want to do 50. That's cool. It's just, let's change it from 5,000 to 2,500. Can you do 25? And then people, okay, I know what work is expected of me in order to be able to accomplish those goals. So I think you're very true in saying a lot of times people don't communicate the right expectation.
Yeah, man.
And so people come in with the expectation of it's going to be easy. I'm not have to put in a lot of effort. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. You're going to have to put in effort in order to make whatever multi-level business or entrepreneurial endeavor that you're doing. You're going to have to put in effort.
Yeah. I think when you're looking at professionalism and just being a professional in general, I'm not in multi-level marketing anymore or right now, but I'm still putting in a lot of hours in leadership. You know, this isn't something that you just wake up, you do really quick, you get it over with. It's like you've got to be consistently working your craft, getting better and learning in terms of being able to grow. And so I think what I'm hearing is there's a probably misrepresentation sometimes from managers, and there's unrealistic expectations when it comes from the person who's starting the business. In this instant society, because I think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, part of the reason people join multi-level marketing is because they see somebody doing something.
Right.
So you look at somebody, they're doing something, you're like, I want to do this too. Or the guy now says, you want to have this car, you want to make this money a month, or you want to have this kind of an income. So what should the approach be to somebody who's trying to recruit somebody to join their organization?
I think the approach, I'm going to back up just a little bit because we're talking multi-level marketing, but let's define it for people who might be looking at it and considering it. Multi-level marketing, if you just break down the two words, right? Multi, meaning more than one, right? And then you have levels, right? So there's more than one level to it. And so when you're looking at it, you want to look at multi-level marketing. And it's funny because it's got a negative connotation, but everything is set up like this. From your corporate structure to the government that we live in, schools, like everything is multi-level, right? You got the principal, the assistant principal, and then the teachers. Yeah. You got church organizations, so you got the bishop, the pastor, and then the lay people, right? Yeah. You go to your job, you have the president and the owner of the company, the president, the CEO, CFO, and then you have the sales force or whatever it is that you're doing. So honestly, if we can just be real with society or those listening to me, everything is set up with multi-level marketing.
It's a triangle. It's a pyramid.
Right. And so I think the negative connotation is just like the results of like what you're saying. So getting back to your original question on the approach, right? The approach, I think, is you don't want to make a decision for someone else, right? You want to invite as many people as possible to see the opportunity. And then as you're inviting it, it's going to be like you're throwing out seeds. And as you throw out seeds, you have different ground, right? You have some that's thorny ground, you have some that's good ground, that's pliable, and then you have some ground that's in there, but when it starts to grow, things will choke it out. You know what I'm saying? You have weeds. And so you're going to throw out as many seeds as possible. So when you're looking at starting a multi-level business, the biggest thing you have to understand is the invite. You got to invite as many people as possible to see the opportunity because you don't know which seed is going to fall on good ground where someone takes it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think part of it is, you know, for me, I get recruited all the time. People always want me to join some kind of organization and come look at a demonstration and watch this presentation. And it's partly because of my personality and I'm just not naturally outward. But I think I get overwhelmed that all these people are wealthy. Mm-hmm. And they're like, but they're not. And it bothers me that instead of them just being straight up saying, yo, let's build this thing up, let's make some money, it's more like, yo, we could be millionaires. To me, that's a turnoff.
Right.
I think that has ultimately turned me off. So I got to put you out here just a little bit as friends, as brothers, as all of that. But Marcus was recruiting me to join his organization, and his recruitment line was like, we were on the phone talking, and he said, hey, man, look at your text message that I just sent you. I looked at the text message, and it was a check. How much was that check, Marcus?
I think the one I sent you was like $20,000.
It was $20,000. He said, I just got this today. And that stopped me. I said, well, how did you get that $20,000 today? And so I just am curious for people just to get some credibility around multi-level marketing, what you can possibly do. You said that you've been in the business for the last 14 years. What has been like the biggest payday that you've ever had?
Biggest payday in a day, probably $34,000.
On a one paycheck was $34,000.
Yes.
What's the most money in multi-level marketing that you've ever made in 1 month?
76,000.
You made $76,000 in 1 month.
Yes.
What does somebody do when they like? What do you buy immediately? Like, or not buy? What do you do after you made $76,000 this month? What do you do with that?
That's a great question. I would like to tell you I made wise decisions, but if you've never made that kind of money, right? Sometimes you go and get things. My wife got some stuff, some special gifts. Shout out to Carla. She's supporting.
What's up, Miss Carla?
All my little multi-level endeavors and the different things that we have done. And she's made it possible for me to be able to do what I do at the level I do it. So, you bless her, take care of your kids, make sure your bills are paid, put some money aside. Because here's what happens a lot of times too. In multi-level marketing and sales as an entrepreneur, it's called cash flow. And it's cash flow for a reason. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it's large, sometimes it's smaller. But you want to make sure you always have enough money to continue to keep your business going and keep your business growing. And I'm big on reinvesting it. So when you get that kind of money, are you reinvesting it in your business to grow your business, having people to help you, staff and those kind of things. And so the multi-level marketing, though, when I was first introduced to it, because I've been having success where I'm at currently, right, in that side of things. But I've been doing it since we were young. Like, my pops was big on it.
Yeah.
And he showed me different things, and I don't want to, endorse any certain one of them. But what I will say is the different ones that I went in, I didn't have the same mindset when I first started. And so I would look at it, and I was the get rich quick, hey, I want to have the $20,000 in a day, or I want to have the $34,000 in a day, but I didn't understand the work ethic that it took to make that a reality.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times when people see the network marketing, they'll hear what we just said, right? $76,000 a month, for real? $34,000 for real? But they're not honest with people. Like, that was last year, right?
Yeah.
But I've been building this thing, and I've been doing this for a while. It didn't happen my first 90 days in the business. It didn't happen my first month. It didn't happen my first year. Could it have? Yes. But it didn't. And so I think the people, when you talk about the expectations and when you're bringing people on, you want to make sure you have the right expectations, because a lot of times people will compare to my success, and comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yeah, man.
And so if you start comparing your life to my life, again, you don't know what I went through to get here, right? I don't know what you went through to get here. And so let's not start comparing ourselves. And my book says, if we compare ourselves among ourselves, we're not wise. Right? Because that could be success for me, but that might not be what your assignment is. And if that's not your assignment, then that way you're not accomplishing what you're supposed to be doing as it pertains to where you're at currently. And so I think you got to be really careful when it comes to multi-level marketing on the comparison, the short term, hey, I want it now kind of mentality, because you have to build it. You have to first build yourself. Like when I first started multi-level marketing, I'm not the same Marcus then that I am now. You follow me? And so you made a huge statement, but leadership.
Yeah.
And everything, when you look at multi-level marketing and you look at just life in general, and John Maxwell says this, but he says everything rises and falls on leadership. And even our country today, the multi-level businesses that I've been in, I would say a lot of my lack of success was the lack of leadership that I had, the lack of direction that I had, the lack of mentorship. And so I think that's important when you start looking at different opportunities when it comes to that, is the leadership, the culture. And I know we'll get into some of this in the interview, but I just think that's really important when you're communicating to people, is the leader. And then looking at yourself, because remember, it's multi-level. So if you're going to be successful multi-level, you need to be leading people.
Yeah.
That's the
you got to get some people coming in with you.
Right. And so when they come in, they're really joining. So like when I sent you that paycheck, right? Because I've taught you about different things.
That's right.
That I've done in different side hustles or whatever. And you never wanted to get with me. And I don't think it was because you don't love me, right? We come from the same neighborhood. We love each other. You've lived at my house. I've been at your house. So we love each other. That wasn't the issue. But I really think the issue was when I first started, you were watching Marcus.
Yeah.
And watching my character and saying, okay, it sounds good, but will you stick with it? And finally, when I was like, okay, I've stuck with it long enough, now I have the credibility to send you a $20,000 paycheck and be like, hey, Tark, pay attention, bro. Like what I'm on now is like, you really want to pay attention. And I think that's critical, is the character, the leadership. What kind of leader do you want to be?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, when I look at multi-level marketing as an organization, and I think, or sorry, as an industry, I think it's the old, the oldest kind of form of marketing. It's just, I told somebody about something that I had. I told them about my experience. They told somebody else, and it has this ability to kind of grow and to develop. But I think one of the things that I was most impressed by, is the word I would use with you, is you did stick with it. Every so often you reach out, you say, hey man, what you got going on? How's business? I remember telling you I got a bonus. I was like, man, I just got a bonus. And you were like one of the first people that would like ask me, how much was your bonus? And I'll say something like, 5,000. I got a little $5,000 bonus. Shout out to the people out there getting $5,000 bonuses at the time. And Marcus would say, he'd be like, oh, that's dope. Like, what's the bonus for? Was it a quarterly bonus, or, what kind of bonus? And so he'd say, okay, imagine getting that, like, I just got that 2 days ago. Like, I got paid 3 times in this week, and I got paid $5,000 the other day, and I'm getting paid $6,000 tomorrow. And it was never in a braggadocious kind of way. It was just always like trying to appeal to what I was doing. And I think I want to speak to the reluctance of sometimes the community of being like, I don't want to believe that this is going to work. Like, where does that negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Where's this negativity brewed from when it comes to multi-level marketing as an industry?
I really think because some people have painted it in a bad picture, but what happens with multi-level marketing in just any business is, if we both come from the same neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And then if I start seeing Tarek having success and I'm not having success, now it takes away my excuses. Because you can't have excuses and results. You don't get both. It's either results.
Are we hating?
Or excuses. We are. And I'm going to go deeper.
All right, let's go. Yeah, let's go on this, man.
So I'm going to speak to our culture, to our background. Okay, so we come, African Americans, right? Grew up in America. But really what happens is a crab in a barrel mentality. And there's a book called The Making of a Slave by Willie Lynch. It's a short little book. I read it, checked it out. You can get it online.
Little pamphlet.
Yeah. And so what happened, though, is in that book, he was a slave owner of the West Indies. And his slaves were well behaved. And the slave owners in America were like, well, why is your slave so well behaved? Like, what's going on? And Willie Lynch has this thing. That's where they get lynching from, by the way. And he gives them the term, and he says, look, I'll show you a way where you can get your slaves in order, and they will be able to control themselves, and you won't even have to be there as a slave owner. And so what the tactic was to control our minds is called fear, envy, and distrust. And so he breeds fear by getting the male figure that's protector of the home, and he just humiliates him in front of everybody, breaks him down, pulls him apart by horses, kills him, so now everybody's afraid.
Yeah, right? He was the baddest dude, too. So he's like, if you could do it to the baddest dude, you could definitely do this to me.
Exactly. So you got fear. And then envy, they take the lighter people, put them in the house. Yeah. They take the darker people, put them in the field. So now the darker people don't like the lighter people. And so it's this contention and the distrust, where they start sleeping with them and, creating kids that are lighter and things like that. So they don't trust people. And I hate to say this, but in our community, a lot of people who are African-American, they say, like, I just don't trust you for some reason. But what happened was 200 years ago, that seed was planted.
No, that I agree with that in terms of the community, but I know plenty of white people. I got great friends that look at me. I've got a lot of white friends, but I do have a lot of white friends, and they're reluctant on network marketing too. And it's so I don't think that I think that color plays a part in it, and I think that we're natural. I think that makes sense, but I think that multi-level marketing with people, I'm talking about white people, black people, I think everybody's kind of like always got a side eye on your pyramid scheme.
Because society has set us up and taught us to be good employees. So I forget his name, but I don't think it's J. Paul Getty, but it's one of the wealthy people. They created schools. And when he created schools, he was really trying to create good employees. Yeah. So they tell you, you work for 8 hours. They tell you when to take a lunch. They tell you when to go to the bathroom. They tell you when your day is over. And so what happens is we've gotten to that employee mindset, and they start conditioning us at a very young age. And so we think that my income is more secure if someone else is paying me by me showing up every 2 weeks. And so now it's like, okay, so I'm going to go to work for 2 weeks, and then at the end of 2 weeks, you're going to pay me. Or would you want to be responsible for 100% of your income based on what you do and what your efforts are? But because we're conditioned at an early age to be employees instead of being business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, some people need to be employees. Some people need to stay where they are. I'm not saying do anything crazy. But what happens is we've been conditioned to just accept things as is, and we don't really challenge the status quo, and we don't think about it. So when someone presents a multi-level marketing opportunity to you, what it's really doing is it's challenging what you've learned and what you've seen for the last 12, 18, 20 years of your life, right? Because when you get multi-level marketing, we're saying, hey, the power's in your hands. Like, you can go out and write your own paycheck. It's going to be based on what you do, right? And if you don't do anything, guess what? You don't have a paycheck coming at the end of the week or at the end of the month or however they pay out in the system. And so I think for me, not only I didn't want to go too far on the black thing, but just people, right? Whether it's Hispanic, black, Asian, white, whatever that is, I think that's the biggest thing. Is society has taught us how to think instead of taught us what to think. Mm.
So what is the biggest benefit of network marketing? What are some benefits that people are missing out on that they just don't understand that it's like, what is that then?
Yeah, so with network marketing, I always tell people this when they join our organization, you're going to find out a lot about yourself, good or bad. You're going to find out what's in you. You're going to find out what your work ethic is really like. You're going to find out if you can do it, because with us, you eat what you kill. If you don't kill nothing, you don't eat. And so the good parts of it, I do like the freedom, right? And then you say, what's the bad parts? The freedom. Because if you're not disciplined, right, to be on the phones or be showing presentations at 8 a.m. when you're supposed to be, it can come back and bite you at the end of the week.
What is freedom? When you say freedom, just be a little bit more specific. What do you mean by that?
Freedom for me is like my daughter last year, she had a competition in Orlando, Florida. I did not have to call someone and say, hey, can I get a week off to go to Orlando, Florida with my daughter? I got to see you last year in Florida. We hung out, right? I don't have to call anybody and say, hey, can I take time off to be able to go see my daughter, perform? That's freedom to me, where I don't have to ask someone else about my schedule or things that are important, things that matter to me. To me, that's freedom. And so when we look at freedom, that's one. I also think freedom can be, you got time freedom and money freedom, right? Those are different types of freedom. And then you have spiritual freedom.
Yeah, when you got $76,000 coming in over a course of the month, you got some financial freedom.
Right, and so
what's that like? Like that ability to, growing up in our neighborhood, we didn't always have much, but like, I see the way that your kids live, the life that you have put together for yourself. What is that like?
It's a blessing. It's honestly a blessing, because if I go back to when I first started and doing this, and I look back at my life and just where we grew up from, we didn't have some of those same freedoms.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have, like my kids have a passport.
Yeah.
They've been out the country 3 times. I didn't go out the country till I was 28 years old.
That's right.
I didn't even have my passport till I was 28.
Yeah.
So when you say freedom, that's kind of what that is. And my goal, my plan, my prayer is, I want to be able to show my children, Adriel and Maya, this is what it looks like. And if you're diligent and persistent, you can have whatever you put your mind to. Because a lot of people tell their kids that you can be whatever you want to be, you can have whatever you want to have. But then the kids see them sitting back, just settling. The kids see them sitting back, not taking any risk. And they're like, now you're telling me, Dad, that I can be whatever I want to be, but I see you coming home and just turning on the TV and watching TV all day, and you're just getting a regular paycheck. And then when I ask you for something, we can't get it because we don't have no money. So the situation is contradictory to what you're saying and then what you're actually doing. So for me, that's freedom. And I want it to be where my children look at me and they say, oh, this is what it looks like to get after it. This is what it looks like to risk it all and to be willing to sacrifice. But then also you get the monetary benefit from it too, because freedom is not really freedom if you can't help others get free.
Yeah, I think people are sometimes afraid of the journey of freedom, the journey to freedom. They said that Harriet Tubman could have saved way more slaves if they would have just come with her. But they didn't want to come with her. They actually wanted to stay because they were afraid.
Right.
And so I think there's something to, I got to be able to let go of the security. That, for me, y'all, that's been my biggest fear to this point is I've put together an income in my mind that I said I've always dreamed of. I have that. And then the idea of giving that away to start something else is scary.
It's very scary. And fear, they say fear, right? FEAR, false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
So what fears do you have? What false evidence do you have that appears real to you, right? Whenever you make a move into network marketing, entrepreneurship, whatever that is, we all have fear. Like it's a reality. But I love what it says to Joshua when Joshua was coming into his call to lead the children of Israel into the promised land. So he just watched his mentor fail. So God gave Moses a big task and Moses couldn't accomplish it. And so he's watching his mentor fail. And now God says, okay, now you're up. So guess what? Joshua was afraid. And in that first chapter, 3-4 different times, God tells him, fear not, fear not, fear not, for I am with you. So the biggest thing when it comes to fear is you have to, for me, this is me, acknowledge that you're feeling this, right? It's a feeling. It's a preconceived ideal. But courage says, you know what? Even though I'm afraid, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, man.
That's what happens with Joshua. That's what happens with entrepreneurs. That's what happens with network marketers. Yeah, you're at your job. You're making $70,000 a year. You're making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, right? I'm afraid to leave that to go on to something bigger because I don't know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
But when I was making this decision and really stepping out, the only promise that I held on to, and I still hold on to this day, is that I am with you. And that's just my faith. So getting to a place where it says, I believe this is what he said to me. And because this is what he says to me, he's got to back up the vision. Because God will provide. It's called provision, right?
Yeah.
Pro for the vision. Like he's the provider for the vision that he gave me and the call that he has in my life. And then real quick, and we'll get to the next part. Have you ever heard how they catch a spider monkey?
Yes, but I'll let you tell the story.
So this story is talking about letting go, kind of what you were sharing, and fear. So they catch a spider monkey in Africa by taking the coconut and they put the seeds or they put things that the spider monkey likes inside the coconut. And so the spider monkey goes in and he puts his hand in the coconut and he's holding on to the seeds in the coconut. And so they start coming for the spider monkey and he hears him coming and he starts running.
Yeah.
And as he's running, he still has the coconut on his hand, so he can't get away.
Can't go as fast.
Can't go as fast. Yeah. And so they say, well, why doesn't the spider monkey just let go of what's in the coconut? Because he's so conditioned to keep what he has that he doesn't want to let go to be free to get more. And that's a lot of society. We're so conditioned to hold on to what we have that we don't want to let go to what we have, not knowing that God has so much more for us.
I love it. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some pro tips with Marcus Richardson. He's going to give us some actual tips on things that we can look for if we're thinking about getting into multi-level marketing, or if you're a part of the industry right now. He's going to give us some tangible tips that we're going to be able to look at. So bear with us. We'll be right back on the other end of this. Peace.
This is Marcus Richardson with the Pro Formula. We want to show you how to get rich. That's why I wore the hood rich, okay? So if you're interested in professional development, if you're interested in taking your career to the next level, you want to tune in Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to show you how to not only increase your personal place, but also increase your financial space.
All right, welcome back to the Pro Formula Podcast, y'all. I'm Tarek Shabazz. I'm sitting here with a multi-level marketing expert who's got time in the game, y'all. This dude has made money in the game. He's making money in the game, and he's been in the game longer than just a couple of days, y'all. So I'm with my man, Marcus Richardson. And this segment, Marcus, I want this show to really empower professionals.
Yeah.
And so just hearing your story is not enough to empower them. I want you to give us some game. Can you do that with us?
100%.
All right. So this is called Pro Tips, y'all. And we're going to go Pro Tips with Marcus Richardson. For somebody that's thinking about getting into multi-level marketing, what is the first thing that they should look at?
So the first thing I believe you should look at is the leadership, the mentorship. Like, who is it that's inviting me into the business? And do they have receipts?
Come on, man.
Have a track record? Like what I was sharing earlier is are they able to show me how to produce or duplicate the results that they have?
Yeah.
And when have done different multi-level marketing opportunities, I never had that.
So let me just clarify, because you need to have leadership in the organization, but that doesn't mean that the person recruiting me has to have that level of business.
Right.
But we got to have access to somebody in the organization that can give us that kind of information. Is that what you're saying?
100%. So like where I'm at now, I'm having great success, and I thank God for it. But the person, actually the two people that showed me the business and invited me are no longer here.
Wow.
And so I connected with the person that started all of it. And that he has been able to mentor me and coach me for the last 12 years. And that has made a huge difference in my personal life, my spiritual life, my business life, as a father and as a husband. And so it's that relationship and that leadership that I have, and the mentorship and the coaching. For me, I think mentorship makes all the difference, because if you don't have the right mentors, you don't have the right advice, or you don't have people who care about you, they'll just kind of throw the numbers at the wall, see if you stick.
Yeah.
But when I got to a place where someone actually cared about me, cared about what's in me and the potential that I have, I began to flourish, because I had someone sit down with me and actually help me write out goals, work with me on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. And so for me, the first thing that you would want to consider is the leadership of the multi-level organization. And like what Tarek is saying, it might not be the direct person that invited you, because the first two people that invited me into the organization I'm currently in are no longer with the organization, but I'm still here. Best year we had last year ever, right? And so that was directly tied to the leadership that I have, not the two people who invited me, but the leadership. So if you get a chance to go to events or meet the leader, you want to do that because you want to find a person that's getting the results that they promised, or that, can be duplicated, and then plug in and do everything you can to listen to that leader and get the direction.
I like that. I like leadership. I think for myself, I would have maybe said compensation to start the compensation plan, but I like where you started with leadership, because I think somebody's got to teach you how to get to it, and I think that's important. And so I do want to get into compensation as potentially number two. How long have you been with the company that you're with? Is 12 years?
12 years.
Okay. And of those 12 years, how many of those years have you made six figures or greater?
9.
Okay. 9 out of 12 years. How many years are consecutive?
9.
Yeah. For the last 9 years, he has made over 6 figures of income. Tell me about a compensation plan. When you're looking at a compensation plan, or when they are looking at a compensation plan, what are some things that they should be looking for so that they can also get a 6-figure at the minimum income?
So the first thing when it comes to a compensation plan, I think when you're looking at it, is it simple?
Yeah, man.
Do you understand how you're going to get paid, whether it's your personal production or your team production?
Yeah.
Is that clearly spelled out? Or what we like to call it is like a career track or career path or a path to financial freedom.
Yeah.
If you can't clearly sit someone down 5 minutes or less and say, bro, if you sell this many policies, if you sell this many travel trips, or I don't know what your different thing is that you're looking at, but if you sell this many, you're going to make this much.
Okay.
If there's not a clear cut, hey, I do this much, I get this much, don't mess with it.
Yeah.
And then the next step is, okay, if my team does this much, right? What am I going to be making on the team organization, since I am in multi-level marketing and I'm networking and I'm building a network? What am I going to be making on my network when my network starts selling stuff?
Yeah.
So I think simplicity is critical. And then I also think it's important that there's no cap. Like there's no invisible ceiling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when you're in sales, you should be able to sell as much as you want to and get paid. And then, so no cap. And so simplicity, no cap. And then I think the frequency of when I get paid. I'm not big on just getting one paycheck a month. So God bless you teachers, people that get that one. That one paycheck a month. I'm not hating on nobody. Yeah. I just, for me, like where we're at now, we get paid Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
You get paid 3 times in a week.
3 times in a week.
Wow.
And so when you know you got something coming in, it's consistency of the pay, and then can I see when I'm getting paid? That's another thing too. Some places you can't really. They tell you this is what you're gonna get paid.
So you need some you want visibility, transparency. I need to see my money. I need to know where it's at.
Right.
I like what you said at the start, y'all. I want y'all to catch that. He said that on the comp structure, you want to make sure that you can make money off your personal pen. So if I go out and sell the product, whatever your product is, I can get paid. And then I'm also getting paid by bringing people and recruiting people into the business. So you want to get paid two ways. You want to build your own pen, or you want to really get other people that's out there. And that's the whole network marketing side of the plan.
Right.
To end compensation, man, I'm not trying to count your dollars, but what's the most money you've ever made in 1 year?
$403,000.
$400,000, and that was last year.
Yes.
So every year, are you seeing growth? Have you had down years? What's that like?
Yeah. So I track those numbers consistently, and so every year we've seen growth. There was 1 year where we were down by 6% in income, and that again, I'm big on leadership. I don't blame anybody else when that happened. That was me not staying focused and taking my eye off the ball. Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier that I purposely didn't hang on to because I know it was a pro tip, but you had talked about an investment. And I think that's a pro tip that I want to just share. Yeah, so we talked about leadership, we've talked about the compensation, and then now we're going to talk about investing back into yourself. I think it's hard, or not hard, let me stop saying that. I think when people make money and they see that $10,000 check, because you can make some money in multi-level marketing. If you actually go out there and sell the product, don't just talk about selling the product. Don't just have people on your team who are talking about selling the product. You actually sell some product, you will get a paycheck. I just got a $10,000 check. I just got a $5,000 check. I just got a $1,000 check. How do you invest into yourself? What does that look like?
So for me, whenever it comes to investing, the number one thing that you can invest in is yourself. So first, invest in the personal development, getting the books, getting the things that are available to you.
Yeah.
I also think, and I don't want to get too far off on a tangent on this one, I also think investing in God's principles.
Okay.
My first meeting I went to.
So you're going to tithe? At
midnight, I'm going to give 10 cents off of every dollar.
Okay.
So that's, for me, those are investments. So God gets his, and then I get paid myself.
Okay.
So that, to me, when it comes to investing. And then whatever's left is what we use to invest in our business or run our household, pay our business expenses, whatever that takes. And then the more you can put into that, the faster it grows. And that's where a lot of people miss it is, they go out and get the new Louis bag or the new Louis shoes. And I have been guilty of this, so I'm not just going to put off on people and act like I got it all figured out.
I mean, look at my man. He's fly, y'all. He's dipped in butter right now with this Hood Rich. Whoever's doing this Hood Rich gear, the right person is wearing it. This brother is Hood Rich, like for real. And his little fit is fly. You can't check his shoes out. He got some J's underneath this table, y'all. So he has spent a couple dollars on himself.
But I didn't start like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so really, and I have been guilty of this, and even my mentor has been coaching me, practicing delayed gratification. The longer you can delay the gratification, the faster you can build it. And if you're not delaying the gratification, then you have to build it around your expenses that you've created. Yeah. So when it comes to investing, just to recap, I first believe you should give to God. Okay, your 10%.
Yeah.
Then you should pay yourself. And then that other 80% you should use to put back into your business, run your household, and those things.
When did somebody, because I know one of the biggest things that made your income jump was you invested in staff. And you stopped being the back office doing all the work. You just were really out there grinding on the pavement, and then you've put together a wonderful team. Talk to us about like that jump, because one would think I'm spending money, like, don't you got to spend a little money to make some money?
You do. And I think the real thing is too, my mentor, same thing. He told me to get staff when I first started. I was slow, I was hard-headed, and I realized that you can only do so much by yourself because you only get 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
But if I hire someone, guess what? Now I got their 24. Or if they're working 40 hours, I got their 40 and my 40. Like if we're just looking at it as a regular 40-hour work week. So now we've got 80 hours to accomplish stuff. And then what happens is I can give myself to the stuff that's the most income producing activities for our business or for our network to build the network. So I'm not going to hire someone so I can sit at home and watch Netflix. I'm going to hire this person to take off the stuff that needs to be done, but it's stuff that I shouldn't be doing. So like the stuff that I can pay someone $15, $20 an hour for, they're going to be doing those tasks.
Yeah, they're filing paperwork. They're reaching out. They're doing the administrative work so that he can focus on higher level initiatives. And they're fulfilled. They're doing a job that they like to do. They're getting paid for that job. And then he's able to do higher level tasks. So focus on higher level tasks.
Yep. And that's the getting someone to help you, because anything big in the world is never built alone.
Yeah.
Anything, the Roman Empire, even when Jesus was here, right? Churches, organizations, whatever your faith is, if you notice, they never built it alone.
Yeah.
They always had people or a team of people that they built it with, and it spread faster. So if that's the case for everybody who's successful, right? Even the civil rights movement wasn't built alone, right? They just had a leader, Martin Luther King, but there were other people in the back office. There were other people doing stuff, getting things done. And so when you're building something, you got to build it with other people. And it's funny, my mentor says, if you see a turtle on a fence post, how'd he get there?
Somebody put him up there.
Right.
Because the turtle cannot climb that wall by itself, y'all. How does a turtle gonna get on the top right there, man? Somebody had to lift it up and say, here you are, man. I mean, there's no other way.
That's what keeps me humble. Is, we're climbing up the fence post and we're not where I was, but I'm not where I need to be, right? But I had help getting there. I didn't do this by myself. This is just me. I don't believe in self-made millionaires. Everybody has to have help. Because if you think about this, everything that you know, that you've learned up to this point in your life, you were taught it by someone else. Everything, bruh. How to tie your shoes, how to brush your teeth, how to think in school. Everything that you know, you were taught from someone else. So why do you think that would change when you come into multi-level marketing? Or why do you think that would change when you go into the corporate world or the work environment? You're still going to need someone to teach you skills and help develop the talents that you have to help you get to where it is that you would need to go.
You say that, and then it takes me to a thought where I'm like, if you join a multi-level marketing organization and you trust their leadership and you like their compensation plan, follow their script. Follow their script, because there's people in their organization that are already doing it. They're already winning. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Talk to us about the importance of sticking to that script, because I think we get in there and we're like, I'm going to put my touch on it. I'm going to make it my little program.
If your program was working so well, you probably wouldn't be at ours.
He cracks himself up.
In all seriousness, though, when you're coming in to get help and to reach the goals that you have. So it'd be like me coming to the military, and I'm joining the Army, and I'm gonna tell the sergeant, nah, I ain't getting up at 5 today. I'm gonna just go do my thing. I'm gonna get up at 6. That would be a terrible military.
That would be terrible.
And so we volunteer in the military, or we volunteer in network marketing. And then you want to tell your leader how you going to run your network marketing. No. Once you volunteered, you're in.
Yeah.
And now that you're in, if you want to have the same results, you got to do it the way we've done it. If you want to have a successful business, if you want to have a successful team, if your mentor says, hey, people who are successful come to meetings, go to meetings. People who are successful give 10% of their income to God. They set aside 10% for themselves, and they invest the rest in their business and build their household. Do that. Don't come in and say, no, you know what, I'm not going to give. I'm just going to hang on to it, or I'm not going to come to the meeting. To me, that is very proud.
You're not all in.
Right.
You know, it doesn't seem like you're all in when you're making that decision. All in is like, I'm going to go to the meetings. Some people have a problem with that too, where they're like, man, I already went to the one meeting, man. It's the same thing, man. Why would I need to go? Why do you tell people, go get around that fire?
You are who you hang around. So when I wanted to raise my income, I stopped hanging out with broke folks. Well, do you think you're better than us? No. I just didn't want to be broke. So I go to the people who have money. I listen to what they're saying. I ask questions. And I figure out, okay, what did they do? What did he or she do to get to where she's at? And then I say, okay, got it. I'm going to apply that and take that. So for me, that's why you go to learn, right? And my mentor always tells me, you go to grow. Like, you know, even the Great Commission, he says, go. You know, nothing good happens staying at home. So in order to grow, you got to go. So that's why you go to meetings, you learn, but you change your circle of influence. And the book that we read, right? I love this one, 13 and 20 in Proverbs. It says, those that are wise walk with the wise, right? But those who are fools and hang out with fools will become foolish. And that's a recipe for success. So if that is the case, let me go get around some wise people. People who know more about money than I do, people who know about how to run a business, people who know about how to build their network, people who are having success at the inviting part, people who are having success at the sales part, and let me listen to what they're saying and get the wisdom so I can then take it and apply it to get to where it is that I want to go to. And one of the things we tell people, if either you need the meeting or the meeting needs you. So if you feel like you don't need the meeting, guess what? That means you probably need to be teaching in the meeting.
Do you need the meeting or does the meeting need you? It's one or the other. You need to be there. Either you need to give off that energy or you need to get some energy.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
That's powerful. I wasn't expecting that one. So are you? Which one are you now?
Both.
Depends on the meeting, right?
Depends on the meeting. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So I try to put myself in rooms where people are smarter and better. And there are times where I'm teaching in the room. And then there are times where I'm not teaching and I'm learning. But, it says be quick to hear and slow to speak. Just think about that for a second. Quick to hear and slow to speak. So really you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yeah.
So when I come into a room, I'm really supposed to be listening as opposed to speaking. Because I want to glean what's in the room. I want to hear what's going on. And then there will be a time to speak, right? And so when that time comes, then you speak. But this way you get to learn, you get to hear things, and then you can take it and apply it. But if you're coming in the room and all you want to do is talk, that's a whole other issue for another day we can talk about later. But that's ego.
How do you help your agents? Or how do you help people if they're like, man, I'm trying to make $5,000 or I'm trying to how do you help specifically your team or your agents get where they're trying to go?
I think when it comes to goals, first off, you got to write them down.
Okay.
And then secondly, reverse engineer it. So I'm big on the reason why I love multi-level marketing and just business and what we do currently is it's a numbers game. So if a person, give you the example, says, I want to make 5,000.
Okay. So if somebody wants to make $5,000, he's going to can you give us a play on how to make $5,000? Here's a play on how to make $5,000 a month. Here we go. Let's hear it.
Let's say we're doing just the personal production part, okay? And
you're just selling your product. You're not even going out and recruiting.
Let's say every product you sell earns you $500.
Okay.
So now what we do is we take the 5,000 divided by 500. So you take the 5,000 and then you divide that by 500. And then that tells you how many actual sales you need to make in order to hit the 5,000 goal.
So in that case, I need to make 10 sales.
Exactly. And then
how do I get to 10 sales?
Then you work and you look at the schedule and you say, okay, what days am I going to be selling? What days am I going to be calling on the clients to set up the sales or set up the meetings and set up the appointments? And then that's how you reverse engineer it, and then you do it consistently. So you figure out the big goal, you figure out what it takes to make that happen, and then you set a schedule around that, given what it is you're trying to accomplish when it comes to your personal production. And then if you're doing it on the team side, same thing. How many people in my organization need to sell a policy or need to invite someone? Because different organizations, when they do multi-level, have different things that they get paid on. Some are big on signing up people, memberships or whatever, and they get paid on memberships. Some are big on actually selling the product and getting paid on the product. For me specifically, ours is big on the product, selling it. So you don't make any money until someone sells something. So with that being the case, how many people need to sell a policy in order for me to make the 5,000? So I'm just gonna keep it real simple. If your spread is 10%, and you're trying to make 5,000.
So you make 10% on somebody that joins your organization. So they made $500. You make $50 off of that $500.
Exactly. So now you know how many people in your organization need to sell a policy if you're making 50.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So really what I'm hearing is I need to get 10 sales. But how many appointments do you need to sit with in order to get 10 sales? Okay, how many phone calls do you need to make to set up that many appointments?
Yeah, so you work it down to the smallest degree.
Yeah, you got to keep going backwards. You got to say, okay, I want to make $5,000 this month. Mm-hmm. So that means I'm going to have to take, because I'm making $500 a sale. Let's just, for this example, I'm $500 a sale. I need 10 sales.
Yep.
Okay, but in order for me to get 10 sales, I need to sit with 20 people because I'm at about half of the people that I sit down with end up buying something from me.
Right.
So I need to set up 20 appointments. In order to set up 20 appointments, I need to make 100 phone calls.
Right.
You guys got to break it down. That's how you get yourself started in the business. Set that goal at the end and then reverse. Take yourself backwards and back out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Any other pro tips before we move on, man?
I think a big one too, when you look at the multi-level, so you've hit those different things. You like the leadership, you like the comp structure, you like the culture of the company. We didn't hit on that too much.
Yeah.
The culture of the company I also think is big, and you got a person that's kind of coaching you. Now leave your seed in the ground. Because a lot of times people will get started, they don't see results in 90 days or 6 months, and then they quit. And then someone shows them another flash in the pan. It's not that the organization is terrible. Like if you've been to 3 different organizations and you still ain't having success, it's probably not the organization.
Yeah, you got a little something to do. Yeah, you got a little something to do with this.
Check that.
Yeah.
So a last pro tip I would say is leave your seed in the ground long enough for it to germinate, right? For it to die, for it to grow, and then start producing fruit. And really, there's no timetable on it. If you find a place that you love and you love the people, stay there.
Yes.
That's really the biggest thing is if you love what you do, you love the people that you do it with, stay there until you start seeing results. And it might take a year, it might take 6 months. You might be a rock star and do it in 3 months, but don't give it a timeline and say, hey, if I don't make 10,000 in a month by, 90 days from now, I'm out. I'm going to the next thing. Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
I think that's a mistake that we make is we give ourselves ultimatums and then we have to believe these agreements that we set with ourselves. The key that I just want you all to catch on to, his last tip was let your seed germinate into the ground. You planted it for a reason. So now that you've got that planted, let it go. Now here's the thing about the seed that you plant. You got to go and work it. Yeah. You can't just put it in the ground, walk away. Some things you can just plant it in and just walk away, but you're going to have to put some work in behind that. And then when it's time, pull it out the ground. But here's the thing, don't pull it out too early. If you pull it out too early, it's not going to be ripe. So you don't want this thing to be ripe. I like that. That was good. That was our pro tip segment, man. So we're just going to segue into talk to us a little bit about what's Marcus going to do this year and what are some of your goals that you've set for yourself over the next few years?
This year is more really for me because you can't have something until you become something. You have to become the person that you need to be in order to have what you want to have.
You can't have something until you become something.
So where I base that off of is in the beginning, right? He says, let us make man in our own image after our own likeness, right? And then he says, let them have dominion. So first is they were in his likeness.
Yeah.
Be, right? Have, and then do. Be, have, do. So I'm working on who I'm becoming as a leader, as a man, as a husband, as a father, just my character, if that makes sense, my integrity, making sure I'm right in those areas. And then the goals that we have set are goals that are not just for me. When I first started, my goal was just to make enough money to pay the bills, right? We're at that place now. That's not an issue. So now can I help other people? Can I give back? And so this year I'm working on wanting to help more people have some of those same success stories that I had when I first got started in multi-level marketing and be able to say, you know what, because I met Marcus, I'm the best version of myself.
Now check this out. What he just said is he's looking to help people that want to help themselves. Because I thought you was going down, you want to help people. I was going to say our old neighborhood may be hitting you up, but y'all hit him up if you want some help. If you want to help yourself and you want to get into a business, he's excited about helping you grow your business. This is what he does day in and day out, and he's fired up about it. What are some perks that somebody would get from working with you?
The freedom, the freedom of your schedule, freedom of time, freedom of money. We love to travel. We've been, my wife and I are going to Alaska, right? We've been on 10 of these. This will be our 10th one.
What?
And they pay for everything, all expenses paid. So they pay for the flight, the hotel. This Alaskan cruise, we were able to perform at a level where we're going to be in a suite on the boat. I've been to some cruises, but never in a suite. So this is going to be a cool experience. So when you say some of the perks, if you like travel, we got that. If you like freedom, where you don't have to tell nobody when you're leaving or coming, we got that. If you like cash, right, and that's your thing and you don't want to be broke, we got that. Or some people, I just want personal development. I think that's the other thing we might have missed is the personal development is second to none. So the growth, if you want to grow personally, professionally, I love network marketing because it's big on leadership. What
are you going to do in the next 3 years in terms of number of agents that you work with, number of staff that you hire, some of your financial goals? Where do you want to take it?
So the goal this year is to 10x. It's a big goal. It's a lofty goal. So in order to do that, though, I have to multiply myself into other leaders. So when you say, what are those goals in the next 3 years to 10x? So I want to be in the next 24 months. I want to have $1 million that I've earned in a year. So the question would be, all right, if I did 400,000, right, what is it going to take to get to 800,000? I can't do that on my own, right? So those are some goals that I have personally. My personal development goals is I want to have $1 million in the bank, or have earned $1 million based on what it is that I'm doing by helping other people. Those are some personal goals that I have set out. I thought I'd have it before a certain age, but I'm at that age and still don't have it. So it's just, I don't think you have any unrealistic goals, but sometimes unrealistic timelines. So I just changed the timeline a little bit.
Yeah, y'all. It ain't the goal that's unrealistic. These are doable goals. Somebody is actually accomplishing it, but you might put yourself on an unexpected timeline or unrealistic timeline, and then you say, "Oh, well, I didn't meet my goal." No, you haven't met it yet.
Right.
It's still gonna get there. Okay, I appreciate that. I got one more segment, man. It's called Settle the Score.
Let's do it.
I wanna. This segment here, you all, is really to help develop or to teach you the habits of successful people, of professionals. So I'm going to ask 10 questions, and all season long, I'm going to ask the same questions to all these professionals, and we're going to find out if there's a truth or where the truth lies. So here we go. We're going to get it started. Would you rather be the mentor or the mentee?
The mentee.
You'd rather be mentored. Mm-hmm. All right, got it. Which network do you value most? Is it your personal or your professional network?
Professional.
You value that professional network is more valuable than the personal network?
I believe so, because I believe your network determines your net worth.
Ooh. Your network determines your net worth. Woo. Are you charged by being alone? Like, is your energy recharged by being alone or by being around others? You need to recharge.
Yeah, I'm probably being alone.
You recharge alone. Awesome.
Yeah, my quiet time is really critical to me. But it's weird because I get energized when I'm in a group too. I'm weird like that.
But you
can't say both. But if you help me down and press me and say which one, I would probably say my quiet time, my alone time. All right. I get recharged.
We hold you down to that one.
Okay.
We're gonna see Marcus again later this season, y'all. So we're gonna see if he changes up his answers, and we're gonna see how consistent he is. All right. Next question: do you attribute your success to the higher power or to your personal determination?
Higher power.
Yeah.
But I think he gave me the determination.
You want to put that work in, but and I was thinking about that one. I'm like, man, that's heavy.
That is.
Are you an early riser or are you a late nighter?
Early riser.
Early riser. Okay. Do you write down your goals or do you just go with the flow?
Write them down.
Okay. Do you prefer to work independently or as a part of a group or a team?
Independent.
This dude is an introvert. I don't know if y'all are hearing this. This dude's an introvert. Do you prefer to get a great deal or give a great deal?
Give a great deal.
You'd rather give a great deal.
Yes.
So if you saw a great deal on some shoes or an outfit or on or something that you really like, you would prefer to give somebody else a better deal.
Yes.
All right. While spending time with the family, is your phone off or is your phone on?
On.
Your phone is on when you're spending time with the family.
Yes.
Love it.
My detriment sometimes, but yes.
Sometimes, y'all, you might have to put that phone down, but Marcus is keeping his phone on.
I'm just keeping it 100.
Is your knowledge attributed to your natural talent or to like study and research?
Study and research.
Study and research. Awesome. Well, there you have it, man. We just went through our Settle the Score with Marcus Richardson. Marcus, we're getting ready to wrap up the show, man. Give the audience a last little something, man.
Well, we talked about in this segment network marketing. Again, I think finding a person that you love and trust that cares about you is critical. If you have not found that person, I'm still looking. You heard some of the goals in regards to the growth that we want to have, but you can't have growth without the right people. So for us, we are looking for people who are interested in building a network and getting free financially. And if you heard anything that you like on this segment and you're interested, you can get with us at richgroupfinancial.com. That's our website. There's a tab in there that says contact us, and you're more than welcome to touch bases with us. Really, though, it's your life. You only get one. Let's go ahead and get after it.
That's what's up. Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you for the time, Marcus. I think that was a lot of fun. And I'll just finish up with saying, you know, if network marketing is something that you're interested in, you got to go after it, y'all. You can't like stand on the sideline. You may have family members that are encouraging that. Just put that to the side, focus on what you want, and go get it. Until next time, I'm your host, Tarek Shabazz. I'll see you later. Peace. All right, y'all, I'm in the studio. We just finished up shooting, and I'm with my daughter, Zariah, and she's got a message for him. Right, what you got for him?
Hi, I'm Zariah. Please check out my dad's podcast, The Pro Formula. It comes on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you there.